I love that concept of the young women that we're working with are our future, but they're also our now. And I think that's really important to remember. As we set such high aspirations for where we're going, we have to be deeply rooted in the needs of the young women we're working with right now and listening to them, making sure that their voice is understood and heard in the way that we shape our supports for them. So good morning. Again, I'm Michelle Adler Morrison, the CEO of YouthGuidance. I'm so honored to be part of this organization, lead this organization. I want to welcome everybody on behalf of the Ann and Robert H. Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago. Thank you for taking the time, each of you, out of your crazy busy schedules to be here with us to learn more about WOW and the impact that this program has now and will potentially have for thousands of young women across the city. WOW is a school-based counseling and clinical mentoring program that works to improve social and emotional competencies for young women in 7th through 12th grade. So it's that really secretly open period that we all have in adolescence when we're far more open than we're willing to admit in terms of identity formation and who we envision ourselves to be in this world. WOW is particularly designed to be a resource to young women who've been exposed to traumatic stressors across our under-resourced but very resilient communities. Now, on behalf of YouthGuidance, I'd like to thank Lurie Children's Hospital for being our partner every single step of the way, and a special thank you to the Evergreen Invitational Women's Health Grant Initiative and ARC. You'll learn more about both of them shortly. And although YouthGuidance is celebrating our 95th year, I have not been there all this time. Our inception was around helping women. And at that time, so this is picture this 1924, the identified population that was marginalized and stigmatized so severely that an organization had to be birthed was unwed mothers. So it wasn't even unwed teen mothers. Like it was unwed mothers. So women have come a long way, but not far enough, obviously. I do want to acknowledge that WOW was birthed, as you'll hear more from Gail Day, the director of WOW, from identifying a real significant unmet need in the community. And that, as you'll learn a little bit later, we went from inception to currently working with almost 2,000 young women in the program. So let's give a hand to Gail and the team for that. And we're working with young women in 31 schools. So that's just an incredible footprint across the city of Chicago. So today it is an honor to be able to help guide Chicago's future leaders. That's how we see the young women in WOW. And I'm so proud of our young women and my WOW team. They really define it, they make it happen every day, and they keep us honest as an organization and stay committed to an aggressive, and Colleen, you would echo this, an aggressive learning agenda, which I think is very unique and important in the nonprofit sector. I can't wait to share it all with you, not only what we're currently doing, but what's next. And I'm deeply committed to using data to inform our practice, and I think that's a best practice in this field. Looking at data, using it to shape, change, evolve, and stay relevant to what youth currently need. So having research and evaluation partners is critically important, and I don't think we'd have the impact and growing impact we're having if we weren't open to those kind of partnerships. And they're uneven, and they're filled with tension, and it's a beautiful tension between academia and evidence and theory and the real world of the practice experience. And so I really appreciate that all of you are here as part of that kind of larger learning community, and know that YouthGuidance is committed, deeply committed to building equity and justice and opportunity and empowering our youth and guiding them to reach their full potential. So the work presented here today is truly a collaboration It's a collaboration between our WOW participants, who some of our alumni you're going to hear from soon, our program leaders like Gail and Cherie and others who are here, and Dr. Ford Paz, Rebecca here, who is a co-author on the paper that hopefully all of you had taken a look at, and then Dr. Laurel Crown, who's led the evaluation on WOW from YouthGuidance. So with that, we deeply appreciate how you have informed our practice and made us stronger and better, and it's my pleasure to kick off the panel now. So with that, let's give these guys a hand and we'll get going. Can you tell us a little bit about the origins of WOW?
Yes, I can, but first I want to thank you, Michelle, and I want to thank Kimmy and everyone here today for giving us this opportunity to share WOW with you. WOW was developed because there was a need. We observed girls across the city of Chicago that were internalizing emotions that manifested in behaviors such as self-harm, depression, anxiety, at-risk behaviors, and those also manifested into anger, poor impulse control, and often making bad choices. While YouthGuidance had a rich and dynamic history of providing group counseling for our girls, we saw a need that was greater, and we had to move that to another level. Because of the service levels that we were providing were good, but we needed to also elevate that level to address those current needs. We also saw BAM, Becoming a Man, was able to codify and replicate the work that they were doing and evaluation and the work that they were doing with the boys across the city of Chicago. And understanding the impact that they were making and the research that showed how much impact they were making, it allowed them to be able to expand and to service more boys. Because of that, we decided it was time. There's a time and a place for everything, and this was our time. It was our time to take the same approach so that we could reach more girls in the city of Chicago. So YouthGuidance had pulled together a pool of clinicians who were doing the work already in schools across the city of Chicago. And the question was asked as we were sitting in those circles talking about what do we do with our girls and what's the issues. The biggest one was, what's the biggest challenge our girls are facing? At that time in 2010, 2011, they were facing many challenges. And the question that we came back to was, what's getting in their way? What can we do to support them? What can we do to help them reach their full potential? What can we help them do to realize their dreams, their aspirations? So in 2011, we went ahead and launched. We launched WOW, and the women in those collectives came together and developed a curriculum that was comprehensive, that addressed the needs of our girls, addressing those social, emotional needs that they needed support in and needed development in. And that was, the vision was to do this across Chicago, to touch every young girl and young woman of color. And we did that through our values-based, school-based counseling, clinical mentoring, and trauma-informed program. It was through our observation that in order to address all those needs that they have, that we needed 5 core values. And we thought about these core values extensively because it was what we had to do. It was what we needed to do. And those core values are self-awareness, emotional intelligence, leadership, visionary goal setting, and healthy relationships. Now, I want you to understand that when you build a house, you got to have a foundation. And within our 5 core values, Self-awareness is the foundation where we go ahead and we build the other 4 core values for our girls. These 5 core values were grounded in CBT. I know a lot of people have heard about CBT, and when we talk to our girls about CBT, we've changed or helped them to understand, came up with a short definition to help them realize and then internalize it, but we call it revise, reflect, and reset. That's the muscle. That's the muscle. And if you don't take anything else away today, I know you take a lot away today, but we continue to talk to our girls about reflect, reset, and re-engage. That's also something that we use as WOW Women to help us continue to do better and be better and walk into our greatness. The journey of WOW is much like our girls. Our girls need self-awareness. We needed self-awareness. We needed to learn who we were and where we fit in the scheme of what are we going to do about our young women to help them. And it's also, we discovered our voice. Just like we ask our girls to discover your voice, to write your narrative, this is what we've done. And we are becoming the leaders who support all girls of color and all young women of color in the city of Chicago.
That's great. Thank you so much, Gail.